Hi folks, welcome to my 8-Bit Retro Journal. So today I got a pile of crap on my desk. Well, actually what I have is, this is a, you can tell by one side of it, this is a Kempston disk interface that plugs into the QL. I used that during my video on the Conqueror, the PC emulator for the QL during December. So I'm going to put that to the side here. This beast here, however, is something that I picked up earlier, well, last year, I think. So what this is a it's an Epson SD-800. It's a dual 5 1/4 and 3.5 inch floppy drive. It takes up 1 bay. It has it's fairly heavy, so I want to be careful I don't drop it. It has an old school edge connector, but I've already prepared for that. And then I have a cable where I had an extra one of these, and I popped it on after the twist. And usually what that means is, it can mean either the first drive in the floppy in the drive or the second drive. But the nice thing about this particular floppy is that here's the printout of the specs, and this unfortunately got so there's 2 connectors, and this line right here actually got shifted over. So it's really, you either set if you're using the twist before or after, so you can set the selector from A to B, and that just says is it in the top or the bottom bay of the and what it'll do is it'll just reverse so that either the 5 1/4 inch is A or is B. And then this one, really only the 1, 3, and R actually don't count. 1, 0, 3, 2, and RD. In the documentation it says those are relevant, but DS, so speed and high and low density are the 2 that do count. And so I've set mine to slowest speed, 300 RPM, and also low density because I'm using single I have some double-sided 5 1/4 inch discs, and this is only for the 5 1/4 inch drive. So, but this tells you what. So that's what I've set up. I will say that I have, of course, some floppy. So this is actually a QL formatted floppy. So I'll see if that 3.5 can read that. These are my DOS 5.0 and DOS game stuff that I used during my December Conqueror on the QL, PC emulator on the QL video. But then here's the, and of course I have, I'm using this as a power supply again. This was one of these USB IDE converters. I stuck a switch on here so that I can turn it on and off, which makes it nice. So this is off. So this is a gem. I found this in the attic, and I've had this for, I hadn't looked at this for over 30 years. And what this is actually is a set of 5 1/4 inch discs. I've got, I got a bunch of discs in here. MATLAB, WordPerfect. I've got an original version of Word. Well, it's version 3.0. And also I have a version of Turbo Pascal. So what I want to do is, I'm not going to run the emulator today because that was slow, but I'm going to try to see if I can't use MS-Q-Link, which you can see, let's focus in again on, is what I have on my screen here, MS-Q-Link. And I'm going to try to see if I can't use that to hook this drive up to my QL and read some old school 5 1/4 inch discs. I know I can read 3 1/2 inch discs, but can I read 5, and can I use both drives at the same time? So that's what I want to do today. All right, so let's do that. I've got the drive set up, and notice that I've got, I'm in monochrome mode, so ICE is running at full screen. That's why I'm going to use MSQ-Link, which requires the entire screen. The drive is set up, and if you take a look at it, it's, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's actually this weird wooden stick, and I'll talk about that in a second, but I basically have to play around with jumpers on the drive, and so I ended up gluing one of the jumpers on the end of a small piece of wood so I can pull it out more easily. But so let me show you what's going on here. So right now it's configured on the as low density for the 5 1/4 and 300 RPMs, and as far as A or B, it's configured to be on B because it's after the twist of the cable. So if this were in a PC, that would be the bottom drive. And again, this Epson SD-800 has the ability to sort of select so that it works properly. And I tried both, and I just can't get it to work properly. So let me show you what goes on. I can't get FOP1, just never works. If I click that, you always get a retry. It doesn't even try the two tries. When you have it set on B, then basically this is FLP2, and it'll actually work. So I stick this in and click FLP2. It's going to read the disk and reads what's on it. So this is an old QL disk. Hermes, which is the software that came with the Hermes chip. If I click FOP3, you'll see that the lower drive will come on, but I don't have a 5 1/4 inch QL disk. However, it wouldn't work if I had one, and let me show you why. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to turn the drive off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that jumper from B to A, and it's just going to taking a little bit of a look what's going on in here. And I might not need to turn the power off on that actually, but so it's on A now, and that's why I have this little jumper on a piece of stick, so I don't have to go in there with tweezers. And so now if I go and look at, again, FLP1 does not work. It just doesn't see that drive. FLP2 is now FLP2 will now, oops, I never turned the drive on, so let me actually do that. All right, one more time. FLP1 does not exist. You can see it. FLP2 will now spin the 5 1/4 inch drive, and if I had a QL 5 1/4 inch disc, I would speculate that would work. Now FLP3 will spin the upper drive. Let me stick this. I'm going to stick the same disc in here again. It's going to spin and read this disc, but it's not going to see anything. So you can see that it actually comes on, but it says it doesn't recognize it. So so that's the issue at the moment, and it's going to be the same for the for MSQ-Link. But let's get that started. So I'm going to start MSQ-Link. It's on MDV4. And you'll see that once it's loaded, I will see if I can read, well, I should be able to read MS-DOS and 5 1/4 and 3 1/2 inch discs, but only if I switch that jumper. So that's the boot I want to load, and that's going to load the program. And so again, I have these really old 5 1/4 inch discs that I'm going to give a try. We'll work with Microsoft Word first. So this is version 3.0. And since I have it configured so that the 5 1/4" drive, so this is Microsoft Word 3.0. So I'm going to put that in a lower drive. And I'm going to speculate. So that means that so it's right away on B. A is not going to work because it's going to just, so no light comes on these drives. So I can quit. So if I try C, that is probably going to be the top drive now because I got them flipped around, and so the top light does come on. And if I were to throw a, I use this during my Conqueror on the QL. Let me quit that. So if I stick that disk in, if I were to do C again, you'll see that it'll spin that disk, but it's just going to not recognize it. Yeah. Now, if I turn the drive off and switch that, I need my flashlight, and switch that from A to B again, well, those pins are small, so here we go. So now it's jumping A and B. I mean, it's saying it's the B drive, not the A drive. I turn this back on. Now the B drive is my 3.5 inch, and if I do a directory listing on that, it's going to read it. Yep. So you've got Word Perfect games and the Frankenstein game by Noel from Noel's Retro Lab. I did put Word in, but if I do C now, it's going to show that drive, but it's going to give you an error message that says can't read it. Yeah. So again, I'm going to turn the drive off, and I'm going to change the jumper back to the A drive. Now, again, I'll show you what I mean by this jumper. It's just a stick that has a little jumper at the end of it. That's all it is. I don't want to change focus because I have the screen sort of in a nice place. So yeah, so I'm going to change it back to having it be in the A part, so that's towards me, and that should have, I believe that's going to have the bottom disk. Let's see if I screwed that up. So now turn on the power, and I think that is going to run. Yep, that runs the bottom disk. And you can see, well, let's see. Yeah, it can read 5 1/4 inch discs. Pretty cool, huh? And that's actually the original, was Word 3.0. So I am able to copy that. Well, the only thing I can't copy is the PGM file because it's 200. It's 200K, and MDVs can only handle 128K. So, but I did test this on that Lenovo PC that I got the original floppy from when I did my PC Conqueror video, and the Epson SD-800 worked properly with the configurations. So I will be able to pull off that original version of Microsoft Word. But yeah, so let's see what else I have. So that's the Word one. So even though I can't get this dual floppy to work as advertised, meaning I should have A and B or FLP1, FLP2, for whatever reason, my Kempston disk interface currently is refusing to give me FLP1, and FLP3, which is what one of these is, depending on the configuration settings, is just not, even though it's accessing the drive, it's not able to read it. So I'm not sure what's going on. If it's a cable issue, I'm not, again, the cable, I've got the twist, but I've also tried it without the twist, and all that does is it changes whether I use A or B setting. I don't know what else I would need to do. So I'll have to dig into that a little bit deeper to see if, I mean, if I want to build a case for this drive so that I have a dual drive, what I could do is just add a little switch that toggles between the 3.5 and the 5.5, and I want to create a nice small power supply for it. So I could have a nice little portable drive that I could hook to my QL. It would be very useful. I mean, I do have a USB floppy 3.5 that I can hook to my current Windows 7 machine, but I don't have anything like that for a 5.25. So that makes the QL kind of valuable to get at any old 5.25. And you saw my collection of old 5.25 discs. I've got quite a few. So that was Word, and I had there's a utilities in the spell, so I can recover that. And again, this is from like before I even had the QL. So this is really 30 years old now. And this is from when I was in college. I have the other one is the Turbo Pascal compiler, because in college they taught us Pascal. So let's let's kick this out. There's no reason to have that in, but let's put this one in here. And I like that it's sort of a push one, which is kind of cool. But let's see if all these discs. So over 30. I mean, it's been over. Since before I had the QL, since I've looked at these. Yep, it's right there. Look at that. And pretty cool. These I could all read off and throw on a bunch of MDVs because they're all under 128K. So TurboEXE is 115K. But again, I think the easiest is just to pop this disc onto the Lenovo and copy. Now again, the Lenovo's at the office. And it's also one that's probably going to be tossed pretty soon because it's showing its age. And so eventually all I'll have is this as an ability to do anything with regard to... that's why it would be great if I could get dual floppies to work, because then I could copy things from one to the other. The other thing I could do is use my 512K RAM card, create a pretty big RAM disk and copy to a RAM disk. So there are ways around this if I want to recover files off of 5.25-inch discs. But again, it's kind of a valuable ability. And so it's nice when you can have your retro gear that you're having fun with can also serve as a useful tool. And so with Turbo Pascal, there's also an examples disk and a graphics disk. I guess it says graph. So I've got all three of them. And again, I didn't show this, but Word has utilities and spell. Okay, what else do I have? I have a MATLAB disk. Let's see what's on there. So now we're getting to more, maybe these are some of my old assignments. Wouldn't that be interesting? There we go. Make sure you can still see everything. So do directory listing. See what's on that. Haven't hit a bad file yet, but I'm not saying we can't. So this could be our first batch disk. After 30 years, not to be unexpected, but it doesn't seem like it's able to read that information. These were all done on an IBM PC, I believe. So, oh yeah, it's failed. So, it's an unsupported disk. Is this a high density disk? Oh, it is a high density disk. Oh, interesting. So I wonder if I could. So I'm going to come back to this because the other ones are all double density disks. So this is actually a high density disk. So what I'm going to do is it takes a little bit more effort. So I'm going to come back to this after I've gone through the rest of them, because you can switch this drive to not the speed, but there's also a high and low density. So we'll see if I have to create a whole bunch of little switches in the case where I can sort of configure this on the fly without using jumpers. So this is I don't know. Scratch is actually a modern program management. I don't think that's what this is. This might just be like a, by scratch I mean just a junk folder. Let's see what's on that. Yeah. Pascal directory, letters, random ZX. I don't know what that is. Might be ZX81 stuff. I was doing some stuff on a PC with that because I had written that a program that could transfer files from a ZX81 to a PC. So this is stuff I'll have to go through. I'm not going to go through this today because it would be a really long video. But just to see if it's able to read all these files properly. Okay, what else do we have? Oh, yeah, this is getting into my. We have XLisp. So this is XLisp Prolog test programs. This is a double density disk. It's so nice to. I haven't been able to. I found this drive, and I haven't had a 5¼ inch drive forever. So it's kind of nice to be able to get. That's a really old version of X. This is all from 88, 89. Look at that. Tells you the dates. Yeah. This before I had the QL, definitely. So 80s computing. So I'll definitely explore. I've got a few more disks left. That's a double density. So again, Emacs. We go on that. I don't have this can take on too long, so do a direct listing on that. Yeah, I'm just actually making sure everything is readable. I think it's readable. Okay. Yeah, so Emacs from 1986. Wow, that's really old. And something KEXE from 1985. Getting to my really younger days. Although some of these dates might just be because I never set the date on the computer. I don't think the battery-backed clocks were necessarily Unix Simulate Pascal. This is 1980. Yeah, this is definitely not. I was too young to be using a computer at that point, or at least a PC. So this is pre-PC. So this is definitely. You have Lisp. You have more Pascal. Probably some source code. I'll have to go through this. It'll be kind of fun to go through that. Like I said, I've had this box sitting in the attic and literally not been able to look at it. Okay, I'm back. I changed the settings. It's not the easiest thing, but let's give it a try. So I put it on the from L to back to H, if I assume it's low versus high density. Let's see if it can read these now. Oh, did not turn the drive back on. So at least I've been good about that, so that's good. Here he goes. Retry. Nope. One thing just to make sure that unsupported disk. So I don't know if the difference is, the other disks were 2D, which I assume means double density, so I don't know what else we would end up. So first of all, I don't think, let's make sure that let's make sure this, the 3.5 inches isn't working. I think that still is. Let's make sure I didn't change it, screw the configuration up. I did not, good. So that means it's the A drive, or the 5 1/4, which is the B drive. So let's put in Word again. See if you can read it at this setting. If it is, I might as well leave it at that. So it can't read it. Quit. It's just trying to figure out if it's an actual disk. Yeah, so that setting doesn't work. I don't know if, I don't believe the speed has anything to do with it, but I can also give that a try. But let me do that really quickly. Back one more time, turn that on, and give it one more try. The high density disk. So this is now a higher speed and higher density. And oh, I forgot to put the I can do that. When I had to play with this, I forgot to put turn this off. I had taken this off, the drive select part off, because I didn't have any room. Alright, so that's back. Promise this is the last time. So, quit. Does it already see it as an unsupported disk? It might be a little confused at the moment. It's trying to see that as B, but I don't think it's going to see it as B. Oh, unsupported disk, yeah. So, can't read high density disks on this particular drive. So only double density, and I assume single density in the low setting. Or maybe the software doesn't. Again, I could try Conqueror, which has its own disk utilities as part of MS-DOS, but yeah, but I think I'll wrap it up from here. So 5 1/4 inch disk reading was mostly successful, not the high density disks, but I will try those on the PC I still have to see if it's a disk drive issue or if it's a software issue. Could be that MSQ link doesn't deal very well with those. But you know, over 30 years of not having access to this case of 5 1/4 inch floppies, it was kind of nice to be able to use my QL and the MSQ link software to do it. It's a little frustrating that this drive doesn't work the way I would suspect, but I could in the future just modify it by putting a little switch in here that'll toggle between the 5 1/4 and the 5 1/4 and the 3 1/2. So yeah, that's my adventures in floppies. So I'm going to end it here. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay safe.